If you've watched our channel at all, you know that Jake loves Sram Senior Edificer. When this card was first printed, he fell in love with it immediately. He ran out, he bought a bunch of copies, he's got foils, he's got regular ones, and we have watched this card for a long time. It has recently broken out in Pioneer. Ken Yukuhiro just piloted a Sram Senior Edificer-led Auras deck in Pioneer over at PT Nagoya to a second place finish, which is just amazing to me. Let's look at this deck and then we'll show you some gameplay. This deck is really fun. The video starts right now. Special thanks to our Patreon supporters who power our channel. Check out our Patreon for monthly giveaways, exclusive content, and even a starring role in our fan fight series. Link in the description below. Hello and welcome to the day. Thank you for spending your time with us. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. I am Joel. We're going to talk about Sram Senior Edificer Auras in Pioneer today. But first, if you liked the video by the end of it, consider subscribing. And if you want to support us, we have a Patreon. Right now, we're running a special thing where if you're one of the first 5 people to sign up for our Patreon from the minute I started this giveaway, you get a free t-shirt with our brand new logo on it. Make sure to go check us out, patreon.com. Link is down in the description below. Let's talk about Sram Senior Edificer. So Ken Yukuhiro, who is just a pros pro, came up with this deck, and you can see this is fantastic. Any deck that the curve tops out at 2, I'm just like in love with. You can see here, we have got 1-drop creatures that can have auras put on them. Here's the list of 1-drop auras that we can put on them. We've got 2-drop creatures, including the deck's namesake, and we've also got an all that glitters as like this finisher powerhouse of an aura. Cards I like in particular: Hateful Eidolon. Whenever an enchanted creature dies, draw a card for each aura you controlled attached to it. Fantastic way to stay in the game. Sram Senior Edificer, obviously, every time you're playing an aura, equipment, or vehicle, draw a card. Keep your hand full. Aphemia, if you've got any enchantments that are in the graveyard that are not useful anymore, you can remove them and create a 2/2 zombie to go wide a little bit. Speaking why I said if they're not useful, Griff's Boon comes back for 4 mana off a creature that dies out of the graveyard. Sentinel's Eyes come back for 1 mana and exile 2 other cards from your graveyard. This card is coming back over and over again. You got a little bit of protection built in with Alseid of Life's Bounty. Over in the sideboard, absolute sideboard MVP is Apostle of Purifying Light. How many black decks there are running around right now? I've had opponents concede, and you'll see in the gameplay in just a second, that just went, well, I don't have an answer to that, and now it's all suited up, and I'm sure you've got what is the absolute MVP of the entire deck, Karametra's Blessing, in your hand. Karametra's Blessing is going to give an enchanted creature hexproof and indestructible, surviving any targeted removal and surviving board wipe. Let's jump into some gameplay so you can see how much fun this deck is and how well it can work. Match 1 with Sram Auras. We win the die roll, so we get to start it out. We've got an Alseid, we've got a Cartouche. We have a lot of lands in this hand though. So right now, I would think about pitching this one back, which is what we do, and we get screwed. We get absolutely screwed. There's not a lot of lands in this deck. Maybe we should have kept the 5-lander. Absolutely, at this point, when you see our mold of 5, we get a 1-lander. However, with 2 lands, this deck can operate. All we need is 1 more. We got to pitch 3 cards back though, which is such a bummer. We're going to keep a 1-drop, and we're going to keep our 1-drop auras. We're keeping Griff's Boon specifically over the Vigi one so that we can gain flying, and we're keeping Cartouche because it goes wide and gives us first strike. So we chose first strike and flying over vigilance essentially, and then we get Thought Seized. Ay, ay, ay. Talk about a screwed situation to be in here. Got to mull down to 4, excuse me, and we get Thought Seized. Here, we've got a Griff's Boon. You know, we might as well get running on this. We'll swing in for what we can. We take 3 down. They're at 18. They go to 15. You know, our hand is empty. We're fully in top deck mode. They know we have no protection on this creature, It's just going to die if it gets targeted. But luckily, there's not a lot of lands in the deck, and we can count, hopefully, on not drawing lands. So what do? We draw a Mana Confluence. You know, honestly, Karametra's Blessing, we hoped that's what it was. The favorite Hoplite gets returned back to our hand. We're grasping at straws, honestly, everybody, to try and finish this one out. Game 1 is probably going to go to this blue-black control deck. It looks like, you know, it could be just straight up blue-black control. It could be Dimir Inverter. It's a really popular deck right now. And they do exactly what I would have done. They wait until I'm going to cast an aura on the creature, and they kill the creature in response. So now we're down to 3 lands and nothing else. We have our thumbs that we can twiddle. We can go like this. We have, you know, we can think about, planes. We can think about places that we like to visit, you know, like, oh man, the beach would be really nice right now. I would love if, you know, maybe we were on a nice hike out in the wilderness, cool, crisp day. You know, got some water bottles, maybe some Cliff Bars in your pack. You're gonna go walk on some mountain trails. There's things we can think about. You know, we see a Jace wielder. They're obviously digging for Inverter. We see an Inverter in the graveyard, so they did miss there. But we see a Tassiger, so Tassiger's really gonna help out, and it's gonna delve a bunch of crap out of their graveyard. You know, where else? Where else could we go? A nice cruise. Oh look. Thought Erasure. Whoops, we have a plains. We held it back so that we could possibly trick you. Our deck is really going to roll on... oh, look, we've got some hope here. We've got an Aphemia. Aphemia is at least going to let us go wide. And also, we can return Sentinel's Eyes and Griff's Boon from the battlefield, from the graveyard to the battlefield to hopefully make up for some of this poor play here. The mole was loose. You know, but you just don't really count on mulling down to 6 and drawing a hand of no lands at all. But that can happen with this deck with as few lands as the deck runs, because the curve tops out at 2. You don't need a lot of lands. You can run more one drop auras. Digging through time at this point, we're just kind of watching our opponent go through the motions here. We might be able to start flying over. We do need to be going face, probably. I mean, Jace goes off in, 2 ticks? And that's not good. But for some reason on that one, they put cards into our graveyard, which is actually beneficial to us. Because Sentinel's Eyes, you've got to remove 2 cards, and we don't want to remove Griff's Boon with Sentinel's Eyes. And so we can now safely cast Sentinel's Eyes by removing the Eidolon and all that glitters. We also get a Hateful Eidolon, so maybe we can start rebuilding our hand up a little bit. We're going to cast Sentinel's Eyes on the Aphemia, you know, get 3 power in the air. It's not great, but, you know, it's something. If we can maybe draw some kind of Karametras, then we can protect it, then we can really start going all in on dropping auras on this and get a lot of power in the air. Now's the time for them to kill Aphemia when the Hateful is on the stack, but now Hateful is on the stack, and so if Aphemia dies, we're going to get to draw a card, which is kind of nice. We make a mistake there and click through what would have been our attack and miss attacking with the Aphemia, and you know, actually no, that was a decision. Sorry, I'm telling you the exact wrong thing. Brazen Borrower was on the you know, in the exile zone as possibly block, and at that point we wouldn't survive a block from the Brazen Borrower, so we wanted to, well, we're not going to win now, but we wanted to avoid Aphemia dying until we could maybe put a little more power on it. But, you know, they have the Inverter, they Jace, their library's at 0. Oh, sorry, their library's at 5, but they're going to be able to draw down, and we're going to lose that one. So, we had bad luck there. We can go with the Apostles of Purifying Light, take out the Aphemias. Pretty nice little swap there, 2-drop creature for 2-drop creature. Think about maybe Thoughtseize to disrupt the combo, but we got to figure out what we would take out for the Thoughtseizes. And, you know, we can take out 2 Griff's Boon. You know, the flying isn't going to be hugely helpful here because of Inverter of Truth. You know, we would rather be able to get that card out of their hand, possibly. then make our creature fly. And so we go with that. Getting back into it, we are going to get to play first again, luckily, and we're going to keep this. We see an Apostle Purifying Light in our hand right out of the gate. We also get a Favored Hoplite, so we can start putting some pressure onto their life total. And we've got Karametra's Blessing, which is pretty awesome. So if we can just draw some auras, of which there are a lot in this deck, then we're going to have a suited up Apostle of Purifying Light punching through, and all of their removal is black spells. So, besides, Brazen Borrower, they're not really going to have an answer to Apostle of Purifying Light, and we've got the Karametras for the Brazen Borrower. We see an Ethereal Armor, which is just the dope noise for us. Apostle of Purifying Light's going to hit here. They can't respond. They only have a Fabled Passage. We're going to get to swing in for 1 with the Hoplite, and know that next turn, it's off to the races. We are going to drop Ethereal Armor on the Apostle. We're going to back it up with Karametras. Hopefully draw even a second aura that we can put on there, because we can get a little ballsy with that Apostle, which is exactly what we do. We can be a little overzealous with the Apostle, because we've got the protection for it. And we know that pretty much, unless we're not thinking of something, the only spell that's going to deal with this Apostle that's in their deck is Brazen Borrower. They obviously they're digging for a Borrower at this point, because we've got them on a 4-turn clock with this Apostle of Purifying Light. So awesome. What a good feeling to have a Apostle with a lot of clothes on and have Karametras in your hand. They play a land and pass. We see a Godless Shrine. Doesn't really matter. We've still got them on this clock, and all we're doing is punching in for 6 at this point. Here it goes. Petty Theft on the Apostle. We Karametra's Blessing, so it's going to go up 2 damage as well. So next turn is going to be lethal. And they are pretty much out of answers for how to deal with this Apostle, and they know that they're going to have to kill it either on their turn or on our turn, obviously, in response to the attack. So I think they go ahead and concede here so that we can go to game 3. Now, we go to game 3, and we will be on the play for this one. So we really like Brain Maggot here, because we'll be responding to most of their stuff, and Brain Maggot can disrupt their combo by pulling a card under it. And so we'll go a little bit more control-y with being on the play, with being on the draw, which is what we'll be, not on the play. We're going to be a little bit more control-y being on the draw, so that hopefully we can disrupt them enough to get an Apostle or somebody relevant suited up and punching in and winning us the game. So we go into game 3 here. Game 3, our opponent, the Inverter combo, is going to be on the draw, and we see everything we need here. We wish we had maybe a 1-drop creature, but we've got Sram. We had Sram, Thoughtseize is absolutely the right target for this Thoughtseize is Sram, which is where they go. So now we need a creature. Not on all the glitters, but we do need a creature. We haven't lowered our creature count significantly. We did go down... No, we went down 2 auras for the Thoughtseize, and we went down 3 Alseids for the 3 Brain Maggots so that we could disrupt them a little bit. But look, we're set up. As soon as we can get a creature onto this battlefield, it's going to get suited up like crazy, and we've got a Karametra. So we're not in a terrible situation here, unless we just keep drawing lands. It seems like all we can draw now is lands. Definitely not a creature. That's what we're looking for. As you can see, they are just absolutely building up their board, waiting on us to do something. We've got the hottest hot heat in our entire library in our hand, and we're ready to go. They get a turn 4 Jace. Now they're tapped out. So this is the perfect time to draw a creature. Suited up a ton. They can't kill it in response to anything. And we draw another Karametra's Blessing. Okay, so we now need to hope that they don't have an Inverter, because that's going to be bad news for us and put us on a clock that we're not going to be able to beat. We need to draw a creature ASAP. Jace is there thinking very hard about how they already have an inverter in their hand, and we're pretty much screwed. Inverter's going to hit. 3 cards from their graveyard are going to become their library. Jace is going to tick up on this turn, put the top 2 cards of that library into the graveyard, and draw the last card. We see another aura, and we concede. Jumping into a second game here, we've got a decent opening hand, but we did mull to 6, and we like this a little bit better. We've got our 1-drop Eidolon. We can put Sentinel's Eyes on it. We've got untapped mana. We can get the clock going turn 1, and just get off to the races. This is a good way to start our game off. We see a mana confluence. It's nice. We're an aggro deck, so anything that's going to be causing damage to our opponent every single turn, completely fine with us. We want to go ahead and get Aphemia out here as well, so that next turn we can start suiting our homies up and going for it. Having Hateful Eidolon on the battlefield is fantastic because it's another way to feel comfortable putting multiple auras on a creature and not being too worried that you're going to get 2 for 1, 3 for 1, 4 for 1 with a good removal spell. Caryatid hits, they take 2 damage from their confluences, or they take 1 damage, from their confluences, and we're going to suit up our Harpy here. We can get 2 Sentinel's Eyes on the Harpy. We've got the Eidolon to back us up in case it dies. It's going to fly over the Caryatid, which is fantastic, and get the clock going on our opponent, which is what we're after. Got 2 lands back in our hand. We're going to hold on to these. Obviously, we can't play a land this turn. Might as well swing with the Eidolon since it's got lifelink, a little bit of value there. It's not going to kill the Caryatid, but it's whatever. Maybe if they think we've got some no mana combat trick that they possibly just let it through. They play an Aether Hub. We are sitting pretty at this point. We can pass through this turn because, if they kill the thing, that's fine. If they don't kill the thing, that's fine. Got some kind of combo deck going here. We see strategic planning. We see Caryatid on the field. Hateful Eidolon triggers because they do Fiery Impulse our creature there. But we top deck a Sram Senior Edificer. And we can cast Ethereal Armor on it this turn. My thought here now, though, is go the other way. Let's go with the Eidolon because we'd rather Sram stay on the battlefield. So we'll target Eidolon with our auras now so that we're drawing cards. They're still going to be incentivized to kill the most powerful thing that they can. So Eidolon obviously becomes the death target now instead of Sram, which is kind of what we want to do. Hateful Eidolon is going to protect itself. We're going to get to draw off of the auras, that are on it when it dies. And pretty much if we can stick in all that glitters next turn, plus hopefully we draw something awesome either off a Sram trigger or just off the top of our deck, then we're going to be in a very good place. Is it charmed to do 2 damage to the Hateful Eidolon? And then we're going to see another Is it charmed to do another 2 damage. It replaces the aura that was there, and we get a Caves of Koilos. Okay, so we can Cartouche on Sram. We draw. We're going to go for the win right here. Cartouche on Sram, plus an All That Glitters. We only need, I think at that point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We just need one more 1-cost enchantment, and we win. And we're going to get 2 triggers to try and draw it. Hey, doesn't need to be an aura, an enchantment, Alseid of Life's Bounty absolutely works in this case. So unless they've got interaction for 1 white mana, which, spoiler alert, they do not, we're going to end up winning this game on turn, turn 5, which is pretty excellent. That was this deck, kind of clicking on all cylinders. It did hit removal. Obviously, 3 removal spells happened. 2 of the removal spells went to take out 1 creature, but, that's the kind of thing that works out in our favor. We swing for 6, and we take it down. We go to sideboarding. We don't really know what we're playing against, and so we just keep the deck. We end up deciding just to keep the deck that we were going, the main board. It's some kind of combo deck. If we can just go fast, even if we're on the draw, we're just going to win this. However, as we are sideboarding, We do put into Gideon in case they've got some kind of you know, counter spell or something going, but they end up conceding and we don't get to see how that game ends. So as you can see, the deck starts really quickly. It puts on pressure right out of the gate, and unless they just have a ton of removal and you're not drawing things like Karametra's Blessing to protect, you're going to overrun them rather quickly. I appreciate everybody watching. Like I said, if you wouldn't mind hitting subscribe, it really helps us out. If you want a free t-shirt, make sure you are one of the next 5 people to sign up for our Patreon. The link is down in the description below. And if you want to hang out with us, we're streaming 2 nights a week, Tuesday and Thursdays, over on Twitch. Come hang out. I'm tapped out. I'll catch you later.